မြန်မာစစ်တပ်ဟာအာဆာအဖွဲ့ကိုအပိသက်ဖြုတ်ခွဲဖို့ဘယ်တော့မှမကြိုးစားခဲ့သလိုမြန်မာစစ်တပ်နဲ့အာဆာပေါင်းပြီးအာရခတပ်တော် AA ကိုတိုက်ခဲ့တယ်လို့ဂမ်ဘီယာရှိနေအာဆလန်ဆူလီမန်ကတရားရုံးလျှောက်လဲချက်ပေးရမှာထည့်သွင်းပြောကြားခဲ့ပါတယ်။
Evidence placed into the record by Myanmar after the close of the written pleadings shows that Myanmar closely surveilled ARSA, knew about many of its members, and yet did not take action to dismantle the organization. According to the testimony of IIMM witness P4715, quote, "It was well known that the authorities were surveilling ARSA and knew about its members. They found out about ARSA members from informants. Although the authorities received information about ARSA from informants, they never tried to dismantle ARSA. This has always puzzled me. I believe they allowed ARSA to exist because what they really wanted was to attack our villages and empty them. All of these factors combined have led me to believe that Myanmar government allowed ARSA to exist as a justification to keep persecuting us until we were gone."
ဒါပြင်မြန်မာစစ်တပ်ဟာအာရခတပ်တော် AA ကိုတိုက်ခိုက်တဲ့နေရာမှာအာဆာနဲ့ပူးပေါင်းခဲ့တယ်လို့လည်းသူကပြောကြားခဲ့ပါတယ်။မြန်မာစစ်တပ်အနေနဲ့အာရခတပ်တော် AA ကိုတိုက်ခိုက်ရန်အတွက်အာဆာနဲ့မကြာသေးမီကပူးပေါင်းဆောင်ရွက်ခဲ့တဲ့ငင်းချက်ထုတ်မရတဲ့တပ်တွေထောက်ထားများကိုထမကြော့ကြားနာစဉ်မှာတင်ပြခဲ့ပေမဲ့မြန်မာနိုင်ငံဘက်ကနှုတ်ဆက်နေခဲ့တဲ့ဟာသတိပြုဖွယ်ရာဖြစ်တယ်လို့ဂမ်ဘီယာရှိနေဆူလမန်ကပြောကြားခဲ့ပါတယ်။
This is from Myanmar's own evidence. It was Myanmar that put this witness statement into the record, and they have to live with it. It is also noteworthy that Myanmar passed in silence on the undisputed evidence cited in the first round regarding the Tatmada's recent collaboration with ARSA to fight the Arakan army. Myanmar's efforts to trump up the threat posed by ARSA is undermined by its own manipulation of and collaboration with them. By all measures, ARSA was not of the same caliber of organization as the Arakan army or other ethnic armed groups in Myanmar. It was a fledgling group, never a match for the Tatmadaw, more of a pawn, and was used as the pretext for Myanmar's genocidal clearance operations. Regarding the second and the last parts of Judge Brandt's question, I note that the FFM reported on Myanmar's public accounting of its own and ARSA's casualties from the 2017 clearance operations. According to the Myanmar government's own reporting in November 2017, quote, 376 ARSA Bengali terrorists killed, 131 ethnic Hindu Bengali people, and 13 members of security force killed. And according to Ms. Lowry, quote, in terms of casualties from the 2016 attacks, the government estimated at the time that 69 ARSA terrorists, 7 Tatmadaw soldiers, and 10 police officers were killed. End quote. I move now to the clearance operations and why the evidence elicited at these hearings confirms the FFM's conclusion that they were not legitimate counterterrorism operations. First, Myanmar has not shown that it made even the slightest effort to distinguish between alleged ARSA terrorists and Rohingya civilians.
2024ခုနှစ်အတွင်းပြည်တွင်းပြည်ပသတင်းများတွင်လည်းအာရကန်ရိုဟင်ဂျာကယ်တင်ရေးတပ်မတော်အာဆာရိုဟင်ဂျာသွေးစည်းညီညွတ်ရေးအဖွဲ့ RSO အာရကန်ရိုဟင်ဂျာတပ်မတော် ARE စတဲ့လက်နက်ကင်အဖွဲ့တွေဟာဘူးတီတောင်မောင်းတောနယ်စပ်တိုက်ပွဲတွေမှာစစ်ကောင်စီနဲ့ပူးပေါင်းပြီးအာရခတပ်တော် AA ကိုတိုက်ခတ်ခဲ့တယ်လို့ဖော်ပြခဲ့ကြပါတယ်။
Ms. Lowry asserted without evidence that Myanmar's references to supporters was to, quote, local villagers who, though not formal ARSA members, joined in ARSA's violence when called to do so. Active adult participants, she asserted. But how does she explain the killings in Tulatoli that witness MS testified about? How does she explain the burning to death of witness NJ's infant in Chutpin, or the gang rape that she endured? How does she explain the execution of over 80 men and boys in Mongnu, as testified by witness MN, the sole survivor? How does she explain the evidence from Amnesty International and the International Crisis Group and the UNFFM that all civilians were targeted without distinction and that very few Rohingya answered the call of ARSA's leader. Perhaps the court will hear more assertions without evidence on Wednesday and Thursday, but there is certainly no evidence that the Tatmadaw made any effort to distinguish between civilians and ARSA as called for by Myanmar's rules of engagement.
Burma Independent Voice.